If I were the defense attorney, I would be challenging this officer's ability to properly perform the Horizontal Gaze Nystagmus Test based on what I'm seeing in this video. In 2019, Sam Hunt was pulled over and arrested for a DUI in Tennessee. In 2019, he pled guilty to the offense. Today, we're going to go through the allegations in the police report, break them down about why Sam pled guilty, what was good about the state's case, and we're even going to do a reaction to the body cam in Sam Hunt's case. The first part of a DWI involves the stop, or what the officers observe a vehicle doing. Well, in the case of Sam Hunt, the officers actually had at least two people call in and make a 911 report about a vehicle driving the wrong way down a one-way. The police officers for Metro Nashville eventually caught up with this vehicle turning down a street, and then per the report, or what ET alleges to be the report, they observe it also cross the line numerous times, and then they finally initiate the stop. When the police got to the vehicle, they noticed an odor commonly associated with an alcoholic beverage, and in addition to that, and the red bloodshot watery eyes, both of those are bad facts, but there are ways around them because, number one, the red bloodshot watery eyes can be attributed to staying out late, working late, not necessarily an indicator of drinking or intoxication. I mean, heck, the red eye flight isn't called the red eye because everybody's on the plane drinking. It's because it's taken late at night, and Sam Hunt was arrested around 4 a.m. Possible explanation for his red bloodshot watery eyes. And then when it comes to the odor of an alcoholic beverage, there's actually a National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration study where they did a test of people people who have been drinking, breathing through a screen, and an officer is asked to make an estimate of how intoxicated they are. They found through that study that an officer could not accurately judge how intoxicated a person was based only on the odor of alcohol coming from their breath. So those 2 points, they're workable, but what's not workable is whenever the officers observe 2 beer bottles in the vehicle beside the driver or beside Sam Hunt. That is a very bad fact and another indicator of intoxication that police officers are looking for when they pull you out of the vehicle. Now, the next part is that Sam Hunt was given a field sobriety test. Next, Sam Hunt gets out of the vehicle and is offered field sobriety test. If you're ever in this situation, it's a bad sign. It may be time to just go ahead and be like, nope, I'm done. If you're going to take me in, take me in. I always tell people that you can beat the rap, you can beat the case, but you cannot beat the ride. You're taking the ride downtown to the jail regardless, especially if they believe you're drinking at that point. Just cut it off. You don't have to say or do anything else at that point after they've identified who you are. Because if they believe you're drinking, chances are no matter what happens at that point, you're going downtown, you're going to the station, you're going to be booked on a DWI.
Yeah, I'd be good.
See, at least in this part, Sam Hunt appears steady on his feet, so that's a good sign. What you don't see here, but it was in the ET story, was Sam Hunt, whenever he was asked to identify himself, they asked for a driver's license. He instead gives them a passport and a credit card. Giving the wrong form of identification is another indicator of intoxication that the officer is going to look for, log, and just shows that he is having trouble finding the requested documents, doesn't understand the instructions, all bad signs for someone who is suspected to be driving under the influence or driving while intoxicated. I'm going to increase the volume here, see if I can hear the instructions that the officer is giving, because the officer has to give a very specific instruction to begin the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. It's normally something to the effect of, The officer has to give specific instruction for the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. It's typically something along the lines of hands down by your side, feet together, keep your head still, follow the stimulus with your eyes and your eyes only. Do not move your head. Keep following the stimulus with your eyes and your eyes only until the test is over. Do you understand my instructions? We're going to see if the officer gets this instruction phase right.
First thing we're going to do, while I explain to you, would you mind putting your feet together like I'm currently standing? Just feet together side by side. Keep your arms down like that, all right? Just like that. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, without moving your head, you're going to follow my stimuli with the tip of my finger here, with your eyes and your eyes only, not moving your head, okay? Would you mind tilting your hat back to me, please? Just like that. Thank you. All right. So I'm asking you to follow with your eyes and your eyes only, not moving your head, okay? Are you wearing hard contacts? I'm not.
The officer asked if Sam Hunt is wearing contacts. Contacts used to be an issue that officers would have when performing the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. It's because of the way contacts are made now, it's kind of a non-issue, and they normally only ask for a person to remove their eyeglasses, but that's actually for the officer's benefits. That way, the officer can better see whether or not the pupil is getting to the end of the eyelid here.
Do you have any head trauma that caused nystagmus and difficulty following your moving your eyes side to side, anything like that? No, I'm not. All right.
Also, more good points for the officer here. He asked if he's had any head trauma, head problems, things like that, which can also contribute to problems with your eyes or nystagmus.
Would you mind touching my pointer fingers? Thank you. All right. So I'm asking you, like I said, to follow with your eyes and your eyes only, okay? Okay.
Return to center. In that first part, which you probably don't even realize because it looks like the officer is going straight into the second part of the test. First part, lack of smooth pursuit. Does he notice the, in this case, Sam Hunt's eyes jerking involuntarily while he's moving his stimulus across his field of vision out to about his shoulders? The officer is jumping into distinct and sustained nystagmus next, where the officer is going to bring the stimulus out to about Sam Hunt's shoulders, and he's going to hold it out there for a minimum of 4 seconds, or at least he should, to see if there is an involuntary jerking of the eye whenever it's out here at the edge of his eyelid or the corner of his eyelids. I'm not sure if he's taking the stimulus all the way out. Also doesn't look like he's holding it.
Thanks very much, sir. That's 1 3 right there. Looking easy, right? Yes, sir. All right, the next two are just a couple, all right?
Okay, I'm not sure if the officer missed part of the horizontal gaze nystagmus test here.
So what I'm going to ask you to do is, without moving your head, you're going to follow my stimuli with the tip of my finger here, with your eyes and your eyes only, not moving your head, okay? Would you mind tilting your hat back to me, please? Just like that. Thank you. All right.
The first thing the officer is going to do is check and make sure that the driver, in this case Sam Hunt, has proper pupil size and that his eyes are tracking left to right at the same rate. If only one eye is moving, then it's an indicator of some kind of head trauma, and or worse, they may need to go to the hospital immediately.
So I'm asking you to follow with your eyes and your eyes only, not moving your head, okay? Are you wearing hard contacts? I'm not. Do you have any head trauma that caused nystagmus and difficulty following your moving your eyes side to side, anything like that? No, I'm not. All right. Very good.
Good job on the officer asking if he had any head trauma.
Would you mind touching my pointer fingers? Thank you. All right. So I'm asking you, like I said, to follow with your eyes and your eyes only, okay? Okay.
Okay, so that first pass would have been to again check for pupil size and equal tracking of the eyes. Next, he would go into the lack of smooth pursuit, where he is going to see as he moves the stimulus across Sam Hunt's field of vision out to about his shoulder blades or out to about his shoulders, if there is an involuntary jerking of the eye any time on the way just out to the edge of his field of vision. That was a little too fast for that test. Let's see if he does it this time. He's moving it more slowly, so it seems to be consistent with a lack of smooth pursuit. So done one eye, two eyes. He's going to go back in and do it again. One eye, two eyes. Back to center. This should be distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation. And now perhaps onset nystagmus prior to 45 degrees.
That's 1 to 3 right there. Looking easy. Nystagmus, you can pull and following your moving your eyes all the time.
I've watched this part of the video 3 or 4 times now. I am SFST certified through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's course, the same course this officer would have to have taken and passed in order to make DWI arrest in general. I'm not so sure that he has done or is doing all of the parts of the Horizontal Gaze Nystagmus Test. It seems plain that yes, he is doing the test for equal pupil size and equal tracking. So, but that's really not a test. That's just to make sure that everything is working correctly. It seems like he's doing the lack of smooth pursuit. Then it seems like he is combining or just not doing either distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation or not doing the onset nystagmus prior to 45 degrees because of the way he's moving his hands. And I don't see enough passes in front of Sam Hunt's face with his hand, and it may be a problem with the light or the video. I'm just not sure that the required number of passes in front of the driver or Sam Hunt's field of vision are there. If I were the defense attorney, I would be challenging this officer's ability to properly perform the Horizontal Gaze Nystagmus Test based on what I'm seeing in this video.
Very much, sir. That's 1 to 3 right there. Looking easy, right? Yes, sir. All right, next you are just a second, all right?
The officer's putting Sam Hunt in position for the walk and turn test. So he's going to instruct him to stand with his left foot planted, put his right foot in front of his left foot. He's going to give him instructions on walking 9 heel-to-toe steps down, in this case, probably an imaginary straight line instead of using the line down the middle of the road. Then make a series of small steps around his planted foot at the end of his 9th step and return 9 heel-to-toe steps. Oh, it looks like they are going to use the line in the middle of the road.
When you put your right foot in front of your left foot, feel the toe like I'm currently standing. Feel the toe. And your arms up by your side. And don't begin in front of the okay. I'm going to demonstrate what I'm explaining to you, so don't worry, okay? I'm just going to step over here. You're currently standing like this. When I tell you to begin, not until I tell you to begin, you're going to take 9 heel-to-toe steps along this white painted line right here, okay? Count it neat, step out loud, keep your arms down by your side, all right? Once you begin the test,
this officer's done a really great job on the instruction phase of this test.
9 heel-toe steps. 1, 2, 3. When you get to your 9th step, you're going to keep your front foot in place You're going to take a series of small steps like this and return 9 heel-to-toe steps back. 1, 2, 3. All right?
Good instructions, good demonstration from what I can see.
Like I said,
Officer is going to be looking for or in this case, Sam Hunt. I keep wanting to say the driver or the defendant. Officer is going to be looking for Sam Hunt or the driver to raise his arms more than 6 inches away from his body, to step off the line, not being able to listen or follow the instructions.
Once you start, don't stop until you complete the test.
He's swaying while he's in the instruction phase. That's a bad sign.
And keep your arms down by the side. When you're ready, you may begin. If you understand the instructions, do you understand the instructions as I've explained to you?
I think so. 9 steps and then 1, 2, 3. Right.
9 heel-toe steps forward and back.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I picked up his foot down there at the end. He's instructed to keep it planted. Steps off the line. Also not counting out loud on the way back down.
All right, thank you, sir.
I think I'm understanding what you
All right, we just got one more, okay?
said. Okay.
All right, so again, whenever I'm explaining the instructions, you want to put your feet together for me side by side, arms down by your side, all right?
Okay.
Just like I'm saying, keep your feet together. Thank you. All right, so last thing we're going to do is hold the one leg stand, okay? All right, during this test, you can raise either your left or your right.
By the way, even while this officer,
approximately 6 inches off the ground, you're going to keep your foot parallel to the marching surface.
even while the officer is giving these instructions, he's looking to see if the driver is able to stand up straight, pay attention, follow the instructions. If the driver is falling over, swaying, things like that, or just not paying attention, those are also indicators of intoxication that are going to be noted both in the report as well as probably the uniform DWI citation. Sam should be counting out loud right now. And he's not. He's also not able to stand on one foot. So this is, without knowing the results of the HGN test or the Horizontal Gaze Nystagmus Test, this is by far Sam's worst test so far. He's having a lot of trouble standing on one foot. And so now the officer is advising him that he believes that he is under the influence and is going to take him in. Sam is not combative or argumentative, which is good for him. And that's all there is to see about that. He was taken back to the station, and the legal limit by chemical test is 0.08, although all an officer needs to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt would be your operation of a motor vehicle. And that's specific to Louisiana, although I believe it applies in other states. But specifically in Louisiana, an officer needs operation of a motor vehicle and intoxication. They prove operation by you being behind the wheel of a car. It's that easy. And then they prove intoxication by either your blood alcohol content being above 0.08, which is the presumed limit for intoxication. And Sam Hunt blew a 173. In Louisiana, even on DWI-1, that would expose him to a mandatory 2 days in jail. And that really gets us back into the sentence that Sam received in this case. So Sam Hunt pled guilty to the DUI in Tennessee, and he was required to spend here 11 months and 29 days in jail, but they suspended all of it. That means that he didn't serve any time in jail other than the 48 hours. And again, Louisiana with a 0.173, if the judge hears that number, he is going to sentence the defendant, or at least under the law, he can sentence the defendant to a mandatory 2 days in jail. Sam Hunt received a mandatory 2 days in jail, but he was allowed to serve that time at a alcohol education facility, something to that effect, I believe is what it is. Yes, DUI education centers and alternative sentencing facility. And he's also required to complete an alcohol safety course. His driver's license is suspended, although that may not necessarily be a part of the sentence. That may just be a function of the Tennessee DMV on its own, or will be required to have an ignition interlock in the vehicle that he is operating after his license is reinstated. And as a part of the plea, the prosecutor did dismiss the open container charge. So what are the takeaways? Yes, Sam Hunt messed up by getting behind the wheel of a car. He could have gotten an Uber or a Lyft or whatever. There are plenty of them in Nashville, and I don't think he would have a problem affording it. Beyond that, though, Sam Hunt didn't have to speak to the cops, didn't have to consent to the field sobriety test, didn't have to consent to the intoxilizer, at least not in the state of Louisiana. Again, I don't practice law in Tennessee, I practice law in Louisiana. But you take this case and you drop it in Louisiana for me, and I'm saying, okay, you don't need to consent to the intoxilock. Yes, your license would be suspended. Sam Hunt's license was suspended anyway whenever he got a DWI conviction. So now he has a license suspension and a conviction to go along with it. Taking the test. I'm not sure the officer did the Horizontal Gaze Nystagmus Test correctly. I don't know if there were enough swipes or passes in front of Sam Hunt's face to do all three parts of the test. He also did not check for vertical nystagmus, and even though that's normally reserved for extremely high levels of intoxication or people that are under the influence of drugs, it is still a box on the uniform DUI or DWI citation, and it is taught in the NHTSA, SFST, standardized field sobriety testing course. So I don't know why the officer did not complete the vertical gaze test, the walk and turn test, one leg stand test. The instructions seem to be done well. I don't think there's much to challenge on those tests. Because of the things that Sam did and did not do at roadside, because Sam Hunt consented to both the test in the field as well as the chemical test or the breathalyzer, he took away, in my mind, his opportunities for his attorney to defend the case. Because again, we talked about early on that there were a few things: red bloodshot, watery eyes, odor of alcohol. Those are facts that can be moved around. Those are facts that can be defended. But things that can't be defended: driving on the wrong side of the road, crossing over the center line numerous times. And then again, whenever you get to a 173 on the breathalyzer, without the officer making obvious mistakes at the time of arrest or in the field sobriety test, this case is very hard for a lawyer to defend. So I hope that you've learned something from this. If you like this video, make sure that you leave a comment about it. Let me know if there is another DWI case or DUI case or DUI dash cam that I should react to in the comments below.